Hi guys, so this is your week 3 project and you're making critters and little plants go in them. So I'll show you a bunch because I have a whole bunch over here, and then you guys can take a look and see what you think. You guys can make anything you want. A little air plant or a little succulent can go in them, and they're pretty cute. So somebody made a little bird. This is mocha clay. That's why it looks a little different than this, which is white clay. Yes, these are birds. They're very similar to what you made last week, except for they're going to hold a little plant in their back. So that's those. This one is a little tiny pineapple. We have a tool that makes those. So if you're here, you can make that. If not, sorry. Somebody made a little tiny teacup to hold their plant. And somebody made a bunny, which its ears are super duper cute. So see that little hole in there? That's where the plant's gonna go. And air plants are really nice. You don't have to do a lot to them. Actually, I have one that's been living in my bathroom for years because there's enough humidity in there. So this looks like a ton of clay. It's actually not very thick. I'm gonna cut some off of here though to make what we're doing. And this is just a wire cutter. I'm using white clay, just like I did with the bird. And I know white clay looks gray, but once it's fired, it will be white. And I'm just gonna roll this down into a ball, or squish it down into a ball. Squish it around. This is the same clay I was using for the bird, so it is new, but it will work just fine for this. And I think that I'm gonna make mine either a whale or a narwhal. Depends on if I want to put a horn on them or not. Okay, that's actually still a lot. I'm gonna make it even smaller. It's a nice thing about clay. If it's too big, you can take a lot away, a little away, however you feel like. If it's too small, you just add some. I don't want this to be enormous because the air plants we have are about that big. So like between 1.5 inches and 2 inches. So if we make our critter too big, then our air plant looks funny and tiny, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, that's about the right size. That's what I want. Looks like a rock. Yep. Okay, so I'm gonna put a hole in it, but this time I'm putting the hole in it for the specific purpose of putting the plant in. So I'm not gonna make it super big. Still making a pinch pot, doing it the same way I did before. Pinching around the outside. Squishing the top. Okay. So that is the hole for your plant. Bigger than my thumb, so I know it doesn't look very big, but is big enough for the plant to sit in. Because like I said, the plants are only about that big. I have a whole bucket of them at home, so we can use those up. Okay. I'm gonna go like this, so it sits nice and flat. And then I'm gonna start shaping my critter. So it already kind of tapers to this side, so that's the side that I'm gonna make his tail on. And this is gonna be a little bit of sculpture work, which we haven't done yet, really. Not too much. You're gonna be scoring and slipping and adding pieces, like you did with your stem on your pumpkin, but a lot more. Because this is gonna need a tail and fins, and I don't know if I'll add eyeballs or if I'll just paint them on. We're gonna glaze these, and so I haven't quite figured out how you guys are gonna glaze if you're at home. My thought is that you guys come in one at a time, maybe, if the skull lets that, and glaze, and if not, we'll figure out something else. But right now, it's just important to get all this stuff done. Get all the building part done. Okay, so I made the spot where I want his tail to go. Can you see that? How it goes up. So I'm gonna make his little tail. I'm just gonna pinch some off here. And you can't just kind of start working with this, even though it probably already looks like the shape of a tail in a way. You have to compress it. So you're gonna roll it into a ball. Kind of start with ball for everything. Little sphere. But all that does is compress the clay. Okay, so I've got this. I'm going to start shaping it into his little whaley tail. And go like that, so I have a flat surface to attach it to. I'm going to thin it out. And I'm going to squish it, I think, to make it a little bit wider. That's good. Okay. And see how the side's cracked? Even though this is not dry, it's just from the pressure. So once again, I'm just going to take my finger, my thumb, and I'm going to go over it, and those cracks are gone. And then I'm going to make a dent or a divot in the end of it so that it can flail out. Actually, I'm going to basically just cut it. Use my fettling knife, and I'm going to push to one side and then to the other, and that's going to open it up. See how it kind of looks like a funny little heart right now? Yeah. And that's going to start to pull him off to the side, make his little whale tail. Okay, so see how it's starting to get a nice shape to it? I think it's pretty cute. Get this side going. And try to get them as even as I can. It's two sides of the tail, so they've got to be pretty even. They have to look similar. Of course, I didn't cut it in the middle, so I have to figure that out. That's okay. That happens. Closer to the middle now. There we go. Okay. So see how he's starting to look like his little tail now? Can you see that from here? There we go. That's a better shot. So, obviously, it needs some love, and it needs to be more even. I'm going to do that right now. Just use the back of my knife and made a little line. Even them out. Okay. So pretty satisfied with the top of his tail. I'm going to go underneath his tail and kind of... See how that's just kind of ugly? I'm just going to smooth it out. And I do that not only because you could see the underneath of his tail, but because if it's lumpy, when it fires, it might be sharp. And we don't want him to be sharp. So we're gonna even that out. Okay, so I'm satisfied with how his tail looks. I'm gonna score it and slip it. I'm also gonna score and slip this side. I'm gonna stick them together. So those are my little scoring lines. Those are my scoring lines. Gonna slip it, make clay glue. Yes, I did just wipe my hand off on my apron. I do it all the time. Sorry. And then I'm gonna wiggle them together. And they stuck pretty easily. And you can adjust it. You can tilt it up, tilt it back. The one thing I want to do though is see how there's a crease in between them? I'm actually going to get rid of that line. So I'm gonna blend it this way. I'm gonna blend it the other direction until that line is gone. Because I want it to look like one whole piece and not like we attached a tail. Because if you look at a whale, it doesn't look like his tail is attached. Made a dent. Okay, I'm gonna pull some clay up to it. It's very soft, so this is tricky. I should probably sit him in front of a fan for a minute. But I'm gonna keep going. I think I got it. Also, if you can hear that in the background, they're moving tables or chairs or desks or something. I don't know what they're doing. It's loud. Trying to get you guys 6 feet apart so you can be safe. Okay, So now I'm in this little spot where it's kind of hard to get my finger in. There's two ways I can do that. I can squish it and make it so I can get my finger in, or I can use a paintbrush. So I'm gonna be right back because I'm gonna get a paintbrush. Okay. So I have this little watercolor brush, right? I'm gonna get it damp. So get my water bowl over here. I know you can't see my water bowl, I promise, it's right there. And I'm gonna go like this. And I'm gonna paint it with the water. And that's gonna smooth them together. See how that's already smoothed that little spot together? And if I can get my finger in there, that's cool. And if I can't, that's okay too, because I have the paintbrush. And if you don't have a paintbrush at home, you're just gonna have to use your finger. All right, so I'm pretty satisfied with how this side looks. It's definitely attached better. Obviously, it's gonna need a final touch, but that's all right. Give a little bit more water. See how I made that little crease right there? Because I squashed it. That's okay. This will get rid of that. There we go. That side looks really nice right now. Then I'm gonna give him two little fins. And this hole is gonna change shape a lot because you're working with it. It's okay, just stick your thumb back in there. No big deal. All right, so I'm gonna make two little fins. If you're here, we have cookie cutters that are like leaf shaped. They make excellent fins and wings. If you don't have that at home, that's okay. We're just gonna go like this. Remember, always roll it up. Go like that. So it looks like, I don't know, like a little barrel. I cut it in half because we only need half for each fin. And I'm gonna round out the front. And then I'm gonna pinch the back. These are really thick. I probably made them too thick, but I think they're gonna be cute, so they're fine. Okay. And I'm not going to attach this one. I'm gonna make both so that I can make sure that they look the same before I get it on there. Just makes things easier. Okay. So there's that little fin. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. And I can actually make them going the same direction. I'll just flip them out when I put them on. I know it doesn't look like I'm doing much. Even if you were here, you wouldn't really be able to see exactly what I'm doing. I'm just making that little teardrop shape, which you guys are totally capable of doing without actually seeing me specifically make it. And you might not be making anything that needs wings or fins anyhow. You might be making a strawberry or a monkey or I don't know, whatever you want to make. Okay, so I have two. They're almost the same size. I'm going to squish this one a little bit because it's smaller. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay. So we have two little fins. That one's nicer. So I'm going to make this one a little bit better. Okay. So I'm going to score them and slip them. Stick them on. Have to score and slip everything. Don't think you can just smack it on the side. It will not work. When it dries, it'll fall off. I'm going to put them right here, I think. So both pieces are scored. Both need slip. Just use water. Make clay glue. Slip both sides. Put them together. Wiggle them. And they'll stick. So there's that one. This one goes on this side. Score the back. Score his side. That was too high. Now he looks like he has strange gills. Okay. So I scored him. I've decided that I'm going to paint his eyes on with glaze, because I think if his eyeballs are sticking out, he'll look a little crazy. Put this on, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. It's now attached. And I'm actually not gonna smooth these in because I like how they look when they're attached. So that's him from the front. That's him from the side. He sits nice. His little eyes will go right here. His plant will go right there. And that's it. He's done. So that is week 3. You're gonna make critters. So have a good week, guys. And if you need any help, email me.